Shalom Akim, Yahba Shimel Shai Barakatam, Hashem Rakwakadash, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great New Stone who rule well, with all diligence and righteousness, and Yahba Shimel Shai. This is Brother Menashe DC Cam. Just another lesson to keep the Akim aware that, America is basically finished, man. It's all according to the prophecies of the Holy Scriptures. And as the ancient prophets of the Most High, saw it, it's coming to fruition. And you have a video talking about, how the EU is parting ways with America on the Iran situation. So you could tell, man, that divide is coming between the EU and America. You know, so I'm going to play this video and I bring us some precepts.
Just hours after being sworn in, new U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo traveled to NATO headquarters in Brussels, where he highlighted how much the United States values the transatlantic relationship as a pillar of world security and stability. But that relationship has taken a hit recently, with the U.S. saying it will sanction any firms that do business with Iran. German Chancellor Angela Merkel spoke in Berlin Tuesday on U.S. President Donald Trump's decision last week to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal.
We've now seen a shift in German-American and European-American relations, while Great Britain, France, and Germany were of the opinion.
Yeah, it's like Akim, that's just Satan. It's pissed off that, his kingdom is falling apart. It's according to the words of Yahweh Shema Shai. It's all part of the destiny of Esau that these things must happen according to Yahweh Shema Shai's authorization.
Opinion that the agreement against Iran's nuclear armament is an agreement that certainly has weaknesses. It is an agreement we should stand by.
Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif met with his European counterparts in Brussels Tuesday to discuss how to keep the Iran nuclear deal alive.
Well, it's up to the European Union and European Union member states to make sure that their interests and our interests are protected and that illegality by the United States is not rewarded.
Secretary
Yeah, I could tell the Elon is pissed off, man. Traveling that long distance all the way from the Middle East all the way to Belgium, Europe. It's not a short trip, It's a great inconvenience. So you gotta see how grumpy he is, So that's the the nature of the game right now, man. All these politicians are grumpy, man, because they're not comfortable, with their positions, and most of that's taking away that comfort away from them. I know these politicians are basically customer service representatives for all these big corporations. So whatever the corporations decide that they want to happen, they gotta go along with it. Otherwise, they're gonna get a replacement. So that's how it's going down, man. And these corporations are owned by the elites that run the world, and they gotta compete for natural resources, man. They gotta fight all kinds of battles to dominate whatever geopolitical region, they are they have in mind, and that's where Yahba Shima Shah set it up. I'll play the video some more.
Pompeo says the nuclear deal created wealth in Iran that drove its malign activity, and that the U.S. withdrawal was not aimed at Europe. But experts say Europeans are furious.
Yep. So money is involved, So much money is involved. The so-called, deserve the elites, break America down, man. So all you can see right now is the dismantling of America from the inside out. Because American politicians, they made some money on that deal. And you could tell that it's no joke. You know, when there's money on the table, somebody got to make a compromise somehow. And then, when things are not going the way it's going for some folks, they rather cancel the whole deal and restructure so another corporation could make money too. So they could make more money here and there. So that's just Esau, not satisfied with what he's got, man. But end of the day, man, he needs to have World War III, to basically control people, man. Control resources. So that's the end game plan, But the Mossad is going to intervene.
At the U.S. for reimposing sanctions and feel their options are limited.
So Europeans felt that they are left with absolutely no choice, but that also this administration has no strategy, no plan B. So basically, Americans are decided for Europeans and for the rest of the world that they want to pull out of this deal and reestablishing sanctions, not only for their companies, but also extraterritorial sanctions, and therefore deciding on the fate of the Iran deal for everybody.
Asked by VOA if he thinks there will be a diplomatic standoff over sanctions on Iran, Trump's national security advisor, John Bolton, said no.
I think inevitably as U.S. sanctions kick in, it'll have an effect on Europe. I think their trade and investment with Iran will drop as well. And I think Iran then faces a very difficult choice.
Bolton added the economic benefits of the Iran deal will soon dry up, and that Iran's economy is already facing difficulties, which led to demonstrations at the end of last year. Tuesday, the State Department announced Pompeo will give his first major foreign policy speech next Monday.
Yeah, so end of the day, man, the elites are playing this game, They got the CIA involved, You got MI5, you've got German intelligence, you got the Russian FSB, you got the Chinese involved too, you got the Turkish folks, you got the Syrians too, then you got the Saudis, and then most importantly you got the Amalekites involved, man, because they're basically at the center of this instability. So you could always tell, man, Amalek has to pull those strings, man, so that things could happen in his direction. But Mossad is going to upset that, and the world is not comfortable, under the rulership of these Edomites. That's why there's so much hell happening. But at the end of the day, man, it's just America falling apart. That's what it boils down to, and the elites going into captivity. So I'm going to bring out the book of Revelation. I'll start from to the main point is in verse 1, and I go to verse 15. And there came one of the 7 angels which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And then when you go to verse 15, to tell you exactly who the main whore is. And then verse 2 says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So that's why you see those protests going on in the background, So it's gonna be so messed up, when all hell start to break loose. And then this is verse 15, and he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and the nations and tongues. Okay, and verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beasts, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So you see how, the new Secretary of State, he went to go talk to NATO after he was sworn in, so he just lets you know, man, that America is on its way out, man. So it's gonna be terrible. When all hell breaks loose, it's gonna be so chaotic, man. So messed up. All right. So, and then you hear the Iranian foreign prime minister or foreign minister talking about protection of interests. It's exactly how the game is played. It's all about protecting political interests, man. And then let me just look up this one little precept. Okay, the keyword there is bread. Um, the keyword there. Let me see. I use bread under. Let's see. Or the other one is bread and wound. Okay, it's Obadiah, chapter 1. Well, verse verse 7. All right. So it says, all the men of that confederacy. Well, actually, you know what? That's from verse 6. Over that, chapter 1, verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All right. So all these secret deals Esau's making, the Messiah is just tearing it up. You know, we have the NATO is pissed off at America. America is pissed off at the EU. They want to, mend fences, but it's not going to happen. So that divide is going to be made more evident. And this is verse 7. All the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And then you hear the National Security Advisor, or whatever title, he's carrying around, John Bolton, talks about, hopefully EU partners will follow along with the sanctions that are going to be, placed with Iran, because corporations got to make money, you know, because folks are tired of hoping on the stock market. They need, something concrete, right? So, all the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. So, all these corporations, all these, uh, people in high places that got connections, to other governing bodies across the faces of the earth. It's going to be evident that they had other plans, man. That America is not the only, prized treasure. They're willing to sacrifice America to gain another gem, to make another quick million, a quick billion, So they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So lack of understanding, as the prophecy of Yahweh Shemashah is happening, um, has got his people shook up, and so the Mosai is gonna let it happen, So there's no trust, man, between among these Edomites, man. They're all cutthroats. And then it's the end of Esau, man. It's the end of Esau. So verse 8 says, shall I not in that day, said the Lord Yahweh,